Nerdrotic.com.
The Superman casting was, I thought it was fine. The biggest surprise, white dude. Think so. The second biggest surprise, which I didn't bring up in my video, American. He's American. They cast an American white dude. Don't know if he's straight. Not that it really matters, to be honest with you, because it don't. But they cast an American white dude to play Superman. It's kind of a shock. They were big on, like, British guy played Batman before Ben Affleck, of course, with Christian Bale. British guys playing Spider-Man right now, Tom Holland and Henry Cavill, who I think would have still been a great Superman. British guy. Now, that's going to be the biggest problem for our pal David Corenswet. I'm not going to call him Corenswet. I think it's Corenswet. Corenswet? We'll just say Dave. Is that better? We'll call him Dave. You know, it's not like Henry Cavill said, Ryan mentioned this last night, and he's completely right. It's not like he like backed away and said, hey, I'm done playing the character. I wish the next guy luck. No, he still wanted to play the character. So that shadow is going to be cast over what clearly is just a younger Henry Cavill. But the biggest problem I see, and I got to see modern pictures, and like these pictures might not represent. We're just going off pictures. That's all I can do. It looks like Superboy right now. That could change. Some steroids, some creatine, whatever you guys do to get the big muscles. Maybe Cecil should train him. But yeah, he needs to bulk up a little bit. As far as Rachel Brosnahan as Lois, looks good. Got no problem with that. She looks like Lois Lane.
I'm happy to report, Gary, that Rachel Brosnahan, based on her past work, has appeared nude in scenes. And that means that all of us right now can look at Lois Lane's tits.
So
this exists.
I did not
on the internet.
No, today we'd be joined by Mr. Skin. Do you remember Mr. Skin?
I know Mr. Skin.
You do. Of course you know Mr. Skin. Of course you do.
I do. I know him. He's a scholar of
teats.
So,
he is. He absolutely is. He should be called Professor Skin, in my opinion. But there we go.
There you are. Well, if you are curious, it's out there. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. But apparently there were three dudes up for the role for Superman. They all came in costume. This guy won out. I wish him all the luck in the world. I wish James Gunn all the luck in the world. I think I am leaning heavily towards the DCU being DOA until I'm proven wrong. And I think there's even a possibility we could get a good movie. Like we walk out of this going, damn, that was good. Just go back to The Batman. The Batman came out. A lot of people liked it. I thought it was so-so because it had an awful third act. Love the opening, man. If the entire movie was as good as the opening, it would be 10 out of 10 best Batman movie ever made. Period. But that's what we get with Batman. We get pieces. We don't get the whole thing ever. But, it did fairly well, $710 million worldwide, but that's a Batman movie. And you relaunch Batman, and it just kind of underwhelmed. They wanted $1 billion. They don't make these, they don't pay 150, 180 million, 250 million, $300 million for movies to eke out a $5 profit. They want to make $1 billion. And when you're spending, I'm going to guess the budget on Superman Legacy is going to be $250. So they need to make $800-900 million just to break even. But that's not even getting, you need profit. So I don't know. I don't know. These ballooning budgets and releasing a bunch of movies that fucking suck and then taking a year off and coming back, I just don't know if that's going to help. It just doesn't seem like DC's, really captured the imagination of the general public. They've definitely captured the imagination of DC fans who are far more passionate than Marvel fans, but the general public is what they're trying to get. And remember, this is a studio, Chris, that was really questioning if they needed a Superman and whether they could make one for a long time, up until very recently, till James Gunn came around. Otherwise, they would have put Henry Cavill in every one of their damn movies. Yeah. I don't know. What's your angle on this?
Well, a couple things. One, he's a younger Henry Cavill.
Yes.
I mean, if that's what they were looking for. And it's interesting. Someone posted a photo of all the Clark Kents. They
Mhm.
do have a similar look. So
They do.
he's probably casting younger because he realizes this may go on a decade. So he's looking toward the future. And clearly he needs to bulk up. I'm sure that'll happen. I'm not really concerned with that. They'll put him on that Marvel diet of testosterone and a ketogenic diet or whatnot. Have you seen? There's actually a funny video of Chris Pratt. Have you seen the series of videos he did called "What's My Snack"?
Yeah, I've seen some of them. Yes.
Yeah, which I think is. I mean, it's interesting. It seems like everyone gets that Marvel body, including Kumail Nanjiani, who never took his shirt off in Eternals. So,
Right. Well, because it's a lot easier nowadays.
I guess.
Well, you can take a shot, right? There's a shot out there that can just burn your fat. I'm sure the shot's like freaking $10,000, but yeah, there's a shot out there, and then yeah, it's pretty easy to bulk up muscles.
But I don't think it was, it may not have been personal with Henry Cavill. It may just been, look, we want to cast younger and we kind of want to wipe the slate clean. But announcing all these things before just sort of has killed the Flash. Does anyone care about Blue Beetle? And Aquaman 2 is coming out with Amber Heard. I think those may fail even worse than the Flash did.
Oh, I think Aquaman 2 will be the history's first box office plop. Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Yeah. I agree. I think they just wanted it. I doubt it was personal with Henry Cavill. I agree with you there, but it looked personal. And this is about optics. It looked very personal. So they've got James Gunn has just got a huge uphill battle here.
And superhero fatigue, I know people want to dismiss that term. Two things can be true at once. People can have superhero fatigue. I was watching the Geeks and Gamers live stream this morning, and Jay Drunk 3PO, who, on occasion he'll kind of he's a good measure of like the everyman. What does he think? And he's just like, he doesn't care about superhero stuff. It just, there is sort of and I felt this way watching Shazam 2, which was very forgettable. Was it just, that you remember when they would take the time to kind of tell you what the rules were and sort of like how much power a hero has? Now they just throw them in as if we're, supposed to assume we know everything, and just nothing is impressive. We have seen characters fly before. Yes. We have seen characters do. I mean, there has become like a, I don't know if a fatigue, I think, is the right word. But at the same time, a good movie could change that. But I don't know. And you, as you were saying, you could put out a really good Superman movie and maybe people just don't care. I felt that way when Batman Begins came out. I thought, God, it's really soon for they're rebooting Batman again. And then Batman Begins, I thought, was great. And it really, the more I watched that film, it really grew on me. And I really love that. The first Nolan Batman movie with Christian Bale was great.
I wasn't super hot on it at first, and it grew on me later on, but like it did well, but it didn't do gangbusters. Dark Knight is what did gangbusters and kind of brought everything back, because it goes through peaks and valleys, superheroes. And this isn't the first time we've had this conversation. It's probably the fifth time we've had the superhero fatigue conversation. But what's really different this time is you have a combination of factors that ultimately, put simply, we're getting more bad than good. We get oversaturation. And no, this could have all been avoided by recasting Captain America, recasting Iron Man, because, Marvel and DC need their core characters, and then introducing more interesting characters than, say, on the Marvel side, America Chavez, Echo, Ironheart. I could go on. Captain Marvel, trying to push Captain Marvel, who's patient zero for all this. And Captain Marvel came out, made $1 billion, and they just didn't. They like, wow, shit, we don't even need to try. We don't, and they started believing their own bullshit. That's what happened. Hollywood, Kevin Feige, all of them started believing their own bullshit, and they stopped trying. So there's your fatigue: is being lazy and not trying. James Gunn even brought that up. So yeah, it's absolutely real. It's palpable. You can feel it. And when you have the list of movies that I put in my video that are coming out just this year, we have Blue Beetle, Then we have Kraven the Hunter. Then we have the Marvels, and then Aquaman 2. Those are your superhero movies. You don't think that's going to do damage to the overall superhero brand, the DC brand, the Marvel brand? It absolutely does. And you know what we haven't seen movies on? The X-Men, Doctor Doom, Fantastic Four.
Right.
Like, if Kevin Feige had a fucking brain, those would be the three things he fast-tracked automatically. Now, I heard a rumor that there was some contractual obligations with the previous X-Men cast that they would have to honor if something was made before a certain date, I think 2025. Don't know if that's true at all. Might be an explanation, because there really is no explanation why you're not casting the Fantastic Four and X-Men right fucking now. And instead we're like, let's push ahead with this Echo series and Ironheart and Agatha Harkness. That's insane. It's absolutely insane. So yes, that creates fatigue. Fatigue does not mean death. There will always be a superhero movie, and one might do well. But, occasionally we get a good Western movie. Does that bring the Westerns back? No. The hottest TV shows right now are technically, kind of neo-Westerns with, 1883, 1923, and Yellowstone, which is ending. Will that create a new trend? I don't know. There's been very good Western shows and movies in the past. They hasn't brought it back. It doesn't mean it's absolutely dead. It just means it's not the driving force behind the box office. And I hearken back. I tried to find his full speech and nobody recorded it, which sucks. Or they didn't put it up on YouTube. Bruce Campbell did a Q&A prior to Evil Dead 2, an Evil Dead 2 screening at the Castro Theater in San Francisco in January of 2019. I was there. It was fucking awesome. And somebody asked him, like, would you ever take aside from a cameo, would you take a full role in a superhero movie? And he said, hell no. He said, hell no. And he said, on top of that, once this superhero thing is over, producers cannot wait to get away from it because it's so damn expensive. They cannot wait to get, and they will drop it like a bad habit once it stops making them money. And we are in that phase. And they don't care. It's so obvious that they just don't give a shit anymore. And it's hard to argue that they ever did, but I don't think the MCU would have succeeded if people were there who didn't care, and we're doing a good job. But that's a long time ago now. That's a long time. We have two movies doing really well at the box office right now, but we only have one superhero movie that made $1 billion since Endgame. Endgame came out in 2019, 18.
No, 2019.
It's been a few years.
Yeah.
$1 billion movie. And as I've said before, the investors do not see the difference between Endgame and Captain Marvel and Ant-Man. They're like, it's a Marvel movie. What's my bottom line? That's all they care about.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
Hey, if you like what we do here at Nerdrotic Daily, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you could do that with your favorite YouTuber as well, I'm sure they would appreciate it as much as I do.